There's no ducking the SEC talk here as we conclude weekend number 3 in college baseball. I am back from Disney World. I am alive. I have survived. Kyle Schassburger and David Kahn with me. We've got some breaking news, Kahn. Screw Disney World. Screw what I experienced over the last few days. I mean, let's get to the change in leadership. We'll get to Disney World. But at Mississippi State, as they have made a change with 3 weeks remaining in the regular season, David Kahn, a month, give or take. This is a postseason team, maybe clinging, to a very small chance where they actually do not make the postseason. They're trending in the wrong direction so much that they have decided to part ways with Chris Lemonis, who took Mississippi State to the national championship and won it all, the first ever university national championship in 2021. Got the Bulldogs to Omaha on 2 separate occasions, but have missed the postseason. Potentially, if they were not to make the postseason this year, it would be the 3rd time in the last 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Justin Parker is going to take over the rest of the way. We'll get to the bonkers weekend that was on the diamond that featured top-ranked Texas, sweeping Texas A&M by 1 run in each of those 3 games. High-level baseball at Dish Falk in Austin. And all but Texas, 6 of the top 10 teams all lost their series. And of the top 6 teams entering the weekend, only Texas won their series. LSU shot all the way up to number 2 after taking 2 out of 3 from Tennessee. We'll get through all of that. We'll parse through the Big Ten. Iowa's 20-4. West Virginia has won 14 straight games now in the Big 12 as they get a 4th consecutive sweep. And NC State has rocketed up the rankings by 12 spots as they swept Clemson this past weekend. Love to the mid-majors as well as UCI and Coastal Carolina look to both be primed to host regionals coming up in a month's time. But David, great to be back with you. We're on a condensed time frame here because we're working around a Learfield audio retreat, but a pleasure to be back with you, my man. What was your reaction to Chris Lemonis getting the axe, being shown the door late Monday afternoon?
I believe the text I sent to our Hoover group chat was, whoa. And that's still my reaction right now, about 4 hours after finding this out, just because of the fact, like you mentioned it, Chris Lemonis in 2 of his first 3 years takes this team to Omaha, wins the first national championship for Mississippi State in 2021. And yeah, the last 3 years haven't been incredible. They finished 7th place in the SEC West in 2022, under 500. They improve on that marginally by finishing 6th place in the SEC West and getting above 500 in 2023. And then in 2024, they kind of righted the ship, right? They went 40-23. They got to an NCAA regional final before falling and ending their season, but things were trending in the right direction. And this year it just hasn't all fallen into place. They were 7-14 in the SEC, 25-19 overall. The writing is on the wall for them to sneak into the postseason, especially with a semi-decent run in Hoover as well. So the timing of this really kind of surprises me. If you told me that at the end of the year they were going to make this change and they were going to let him finish out the season, I might understand it a little bit more. But to immediately relieve him of duty right now, I feel like there's got to be a succession plan already in place at Mississippi State. They've got to have their eye on somebody. I don't know who it is. We can certainly discuss a bevy of names. There's always the usual suspects that we've talked about every time there's a coaching opening anywhere that's, in the SEC for people to come up that are not in the SEC, like a Cliff Godwin, like a Chris Pollard, and others. But the fact that they do it on April 28th with 3 weekends left in the regular season and at least 1 game in Hoover for Mississippi State makes me think there is either something else behind this firing that we don't know about, which again, all speculation, but it's where your mind goes, or Mississippi State already has zeroed in on their replacement and they just said, you know what, we already know what we're going to do. Why wait? See you later. But I am surprised, and I think Chris Lemonis actually should have earned a little bit more goodwill from Mississippi State after what he did in 2 of his first 3 years and riding the ship last year and taking them to a regional final. But it seemed like they were a little happy with the trigger this season, Kyle.
Yeah, and they were on the verge of hosting, too, let's not forget, a year ago, and had a chance at winning the Charlottesville Regional. They did not. Virginia won, then took their super and went to Omaha. But, what he did. A statue should have been built for this guy based on what he had done at Mississippi State. As part of a program that is the raucous environments, Duty Noble Field, what baseball represents in that community. It is a baseball school first and foremost. I mean, go back to Rafael Palmeiro and Will Clark, Thunder and Lightning, and what began under Ron Polk, or what Ron Polk, helped to punctuate, with Mississippi State baseball in the left field lounge and everything that it represented. Really, Mississippi State was the standard. They were the flag bearer. They were the first to break through that wall and bloody themselves and open up everyone else's eyes in the SEC of what Mississippi State was looking to embark upon when it came to SEC baseball and the seriousness that it would take to invest and to get a fan base behind you that would support you to grow not just the sport of baseball, but also the league in general, and heighten what the SEC has become, certainly from a baseball standpoint. It started with Mississippi State, but they never won anything other than some SEC titles. They had never won a national title. Given all of that, Chris Lemonis was the one that came in during what was a very dark time. I think people have a short memory. And I agree with you. It's a quick trigger. But we live in a society where nowadays, with NIL and the transfer portal and, this arms race with facilities and players, and you have the pending house settlement, that you should be able to correct things almost, within a year, within 2 years tops. This guy, though, is only 4 years removed from winning a national championship. And before he got there, you had, what was his name? The LSU, Casiano? Am I saying it right?
Cannizzaro. Andy Cannizzaro.
Andy Cannizzaro, and that soap opera of his exit in Starkville. It looked like he was starting to get things rolling, and then there was all these swirling, rumors of things off the field, and ultimately he was shown the door. But like Mississippi State, basically, you had thought it hit rock bottom at that time. Lemonis comes in, they pluck him away from Indiana. He's entering his 7th season this year, and they started okay out of the gate, but you're right, they really fell hard and came down to earth to what was a 7-14 record here, which is third to last. Okay, 7-14. Only South Carolina at 5-16, and Missouri, who still hasn't won a game. Kahn, give us our Missouri update. 0-21 now after getting swept by Alabama. Correct?
Yes, with 3 series left, the over/under of 3.5. The under is looking tasty for Mizzou SEC record bettors.
Yes, very, very tasty. But what Lemonis did for this university, for this community, to bring them their first ever national championship of any kind, and then 40 years later, it's a harsh reminder of how quickly people can forget in this day and age of not just college athletics, pro sports. But that's more of a pro sports thing, right? These quick triggers and coaches getting fired left and right. I mean, I think about, the NBA is a sport, and the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NHL, the big 4 pro sports. I mean, this is a regularity, and this is another data point of amateur, air quotes, athletics, collegiate athletics, moving closer and closer towards the professional model because of the finances that are at stake here. And I'm not comfortable with it. I don't like it. And I don't know where Mississippi State goes from here because, as you said off the top, David, they've got to have a splashy hire or a splashy name in mind. And that's the only thing that is going to pacify, I think, this fan base, whether they're willing to admit it or not, because I think, a fanatic, they're crazy. They're wild. And Mississippi State baseball fans are some of the most crazy and passionate and wild. I planned on getting to this later, and sorry for this long, monologue of sorts, but, my hat tip of the weekend, and we'll do some box score bingo, but my hat tip of the weekend was, the attendance showing by LSU this past weekend. They set a record in a single game against LSU with close to 13,500. They set an attendance record all time at Alex Box Stadium for the entire weekend against Tennessee. But that one game, I think it was 13,400 and change, which was an Alex Box record, was the 22nd largest college baseball crowd of all time. okay,
Yeah.
of all time. 20 of those 21, okay, 20 of the highest attended 21 games, 1 through 19 and 21, all time, all belong to Dudy Noble Field. That tells you everything you need to know in terms of that fan base and that history. And I think they're going to be wishing, careful what you ask for, okay? Because I just don't know who you're going to get. Cliff Godwin, maybe the shine has fallen off of him. He's thrown into all these searches, but ECU is down this year. They got beat by your Tulane Green Wave this past weekend. Tom Walter, Chris Pollard, guys out of the ACC at Wake Forest and Duke. Sure, their names will be in there. Dan Hefter, I mean, he seems so established at DBU, but is that a splashy enough hire that will resonate with folks of Starkville? I don't think so.
I don't know. I really don't know. It honestly kind of depends on for a Dan Hefner specifically. DBU has always been a very much a contending program. I mean, heck, you can say the same thing about Campbell and with Justin Hare, what happened to him when he went to Ohio State. So they've always been around, but it's like, how does DBU do this year? Because like you said, everybody has a short memory. Nobody's going to remember the fact that DBU was a game away from the regional, or was in the regional final last year in Tucson against West Virginia. I believe it was either them or I think it was DBU was against West Virginia. I think that was the final. So you have to, it's all year by year now, which is unfortunate because here's the point to hammer that home. So the College World Series champions were crowned starting in 1947, right? 1947 to 2025. You know how many teams have won the national championship in almost 80 years? 33.
I would have said 25.
33 teams in college baseball have won the national championship, dating all the way back to 1947. The fact that you have one of them is incredible because there are 33 teams that have won, and there are hundreds of college baseball teams. There are a bunch of teams that have never made it to Omaha. Chris Lemonis took you there twice, and he won one. He won the first ever national championship in Mississippi State. All right. So I agree with you. The fact that they have a short memory and go, oh, well, he did that. But for the past 4 years, all we've done is get to a regional final. All we've done is get to a regional final. Buddy, there are teams out there wishing and hoping to make the postseason. And you're complaining because you're having a down season in the toughest conference in college baseball? Like, come on. Like, I'm with you. The statue should have been built for Chris Lemonis before the 2022 season began, and he deserves a little bit more of a leash to be tugged on. But, maybe the brass talks to him after the season and goes, Chris, can't happen again. Hop in the portal, get your guys, and use the fact that you have 20 of the top 21 attendance games in college baseball history to say, hey, you come here, people are going to root for you and love you. They want to see excellence. They want to see winning baseball. Come here and you will be supported like you aren't going to be supported anywhere else in the country by a fan base who is as rabid as any fan base across all of sport. So the fact that they did this to Chris Lemonis, I feel like is a little bit short-sighted, but it goes back to your point, Kyle, of the fact that everyone has a memory of the size of a snail, and they just forget things like that and they move on. So it's tough for Chris Lemonis. I certainly hope and believe he will land somewhere else. But back to your point about who's going to take over for him, I think you might have to look at some of the assistant coaches in the SEC, maybe even at Texas. You can look at a guy like Max Wiener, the pitching coach. You can look at a guy like Troy Tulowitzki, the hitting coach at Texas. I would say you could look at a guy like Jake Gocher, who has head coaching experience, but they named Justin Parker the interim head coach. If they were going to do a Gocher, they would have just made him the head coach.
Well, and let's not forget about Nolan Kane either, who I believe is really the top assistant on Slosh, who had spent time, who had spent time at LSU, and Kane's resume is extremely impressive. 5 NCAA tournament national seeds while he was there under Paul Mainieri, 2 College World Series appearances, 5 regionals, 2 SEC titles, 2 SEC crowns. He's a guy who I think certainly would be looked upon and should be interested. You would imagine, like, here's the thing, for any candidate or anybody who has head coaching aspirations, why not Mississippi State? Why would they not be the dream job of all dream jobs based on everything we've already talked about with the investment, with the fan base, with a national championship, one of 33 all time. And here's the thing, Con, we talked about this last week. I said it was confusing. And really it was confusing what I was trying to get across in terms of the SEC and some of the results. So, and you put my feet back down on the ground. You're like, that's parity, brother. That's the best conference in college baseball. We were seeing it on full display. So much so, Con, that just 2 short years ago, we saw the SEC break their own record, sending 8 teams as hosts 2 years ago, breaking their previous record of 7, which they had done 2 times before in, I think, 2017 and 2021. In 2023, 8 of the 16 hosts in the NCAA tournament were from the SEC. Con, we're threatening potentially 9 this year. And as you look at the standings, this is the other thing that's a head scratcher with Lemonis exiting now and not at least giving him the leash with 3 weeks left in the regular season, which, by the way, let me remind you, 3 weeks from tonight, we will have departed Firebirds, or at least be finishing up our fine meal, which I will not be enjoying steak. You will.
Yes,
couple
absolutely.
adult beverages.
Yes.
And working our way back to the room to do some late night grinding and prep ahead of day 1 of the SEC tournament in Hoover.
That's my favorite night of the week, simply because we're in there, we're jazzed up for the week, we're on a high of highs, we're back in Hoover, we've felt the atmosphere, we've been to the Met, we've set everything up, we're like, let's go, we go have our great meal, and then you and I just vibe for like hours in the hotel room, and it is nirvana. Like, that is my absolute favorite night, because you and I will crack open a couple adult beverages, you'll have your speaker, we'll play some music, and we'll just be in Zen mode prepping, and we'll, a couple of, thoughts exchanged here and there. But I love Monday night in Hoover before everything starts. It's the calm before the storm, and I'm so ready for it. I cannot wait for Hoover this year. 16 teams, single elimination, every game meaningful. The top 4 seeds can do their normal rotation Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to get the most elite baseball we've ever seen in Hoover. I'm calling it right now. This is going to be an amazing tournament.
And to that point, why not let him finish? He's under contract through 2026 too. Like, let him finish out this year. Anything can happen. Yeah. On top of that, where you're at in the standings, sure, you're 3rd from the bottom. But my point about the league and it being on full display, everything we talked about last week, the parity and the competitiveness, Con, Texas is 19-2. They're leading the league. They have a 5-game lead on second place Arkansas and LSU. Texas even owns the tiebreaker over LSU. But here's the thing. There are 9 teams. After Texas at 19-2, there are 9 teams all separated by only 3 games. And then if you get to Kentucky in 11th place, they're 10-11. They're only 4 games back in the win column of second place Arkansas and LSU. So where's Mississippi State at 7-14? In the year the SEC tournament goes to 16 games, everybody's invited, single elimination, which you just beautifully and eloquently laid out. And yes, a night of pure zen. I couldn't come up with a better word. Monday on the eve of the start of the SEC baseball tournament, Mississippi State could win 2 out of the next 3 series and all of a sudden be in the top half of the SEC standings. We don't know. Yeah. There's still 3 weeks to play where so much can change. And when you look at their schedule coming up, they've got Kentucky coming to Starkville this weekend. They have Ole Miss and the Egg Bowl being renewed also at home the following weekend. So you already have the edge. You're in Stark Vegas. You're at the Dude for the next 2 weekends. And then who do you conclude the regular season with? Currently 0-21 Missouri.
That's what I'm saying.
You can go 7-2 over the next 3 weeks. 6-3
you're in the
should be your goal.
You're in. 13 wins in the SEC, you're in. We have seen that proven. That is the benchmark. We know it. We don't even have to question it. If you come into the SEC tournament with 13 wins, you are going to the postseason. And the schedule is laid out right in front of you to do it. Because you have 2 series at home, like you just mentioned, Kentucky and Ole Miss, and then you close with a team that hasn't won a damn game in 2 months. All right? Come on. Like, I'm getting fired up now. I mean, God, I was more like sad for Chris Lemonis. Now I'm pissed. Like, why? like I said, there has to be something more behind this, man, or they have to just know the guy. They have to just know who they want, and they want to, quietly backdoor let him start, doing his thing, letting him cook, I guess is the right way to say it. But how do you do that when you still have a freaking season left to play? And I hope, like it did for Texas A&M when they had that whole scuffle with Kentucky a few weeks back, and it really lit them on fire and sent them, on their torrid run towards trying to get into the postseason, which they still need 5 more wins to do after getting swept by Texas. I hope this lights a fire under Mississippi State. I hope that they come into Hoover with 13 wins and go, that's not enough. We need to bulldoze some people in Hoover. And they just come in. You got nothing to lose, right? You don't have a head coach right now. So that means you're going in the portal after this year. We know how it works. This whole team's about to hop in that transfer portal and take a look around the country and say, who wants me? I'm up for grabs. And some of them may come back. We don't know. But play with your hair on fire, Mississippi State. Just do it. See what happens. Play for Chris Lemonis. Do it for CL.
It'll be 4 years ago at the end of June that he led them to the national title, the 2021 national championship. Mississippi State on top of college baseball. And after not even 7 full seasons, 232 and 135, Chris Lemonis is out in Starkville. Justin Parker will take over. Nick Mingione in Kentucky visiting the dude this weekend. What do you think? On-campus visit for Mingione? Maybe as the next head coach of Mississippi State, they're going to get an up-close and personal view. The brass, the administration of the Bulldogs with Nick Mingione coming to Starkville this weekend. He's got to be on that list, given what he's turned Kentucky into over the last couple of years. It's not the sexiest style of play. I think it would take a lot of adjustment from the fans. And quite frankly, I don't think the fans would like such a hire because I think they want more flash. They want more pizzazz. I don't know if there's a major league, connection out there with some, think of Wes Johnson coming from the Twins. Now, he came into an assistant role first under Jay Johnson, but maybe that's a blueprint of sorts for Mississippi State to now think outside the box. Maybe there's a guy in the big leagues, but whether it's a Nolan Kane, another Texas assistant like Max Wiener, any of these guys should have designs on wanting to be a head coach, and Mississippi State would certainly be the program. The other name I would drop is inside the Magnolia State, and that is Christian Ostrander, head coach of Southern Miss. So you would think that would be one of the first calls that
after
would
what,
be made.
2 years, 3 years at Southern Miss right now?
He's in year 2. He's in year 2.
Okay. Yeah, they're ranked, sure. Yeah, I could see that. I didn't even think about Christian Ostrander. I don't know how. Southern Miss is 22 right now. They make the postseason. They perform well in the regional. You get enough flash there. Does Mississippi State look down on Southern Miss as little brother?
That's the thing. I don't think that's going to ignite the fan base either. Yeah. And there's almost going to be a sense, not saying it's right because I think it's wrong, but just because of to your point, the little brother aspect of this, in being they would even call them a directional school, which I feel like is offensive, but it is true. Southern Mississippi. But it is a non-P4. It is a mid-major school, but they certainly, from a baseball standpoint, we know they operate at a big boy level, much like in ECU and what Cliff Godwin has done. The athletic director is Zach Selman. He is the one who is calling the shots, pulling that trigger mightily and quickly. He has been the AD since January 13th, 2023. I'm trying to scan through the bio. Let's see.
See where he's been.
Successful administrative stops at Oklahoma and North Carolina.
Skip Johnson?
Does Skip need a change of scenery?
He's in the SEC now. He's with Oklahoma.
He is. Or somebody on Skip's staff. But still, Skip's a name I would throw out there because of that. Time.
Would you throw Forbes out there too?
North Carolina's a top 5 program now.
I know. I don't think so.
All that.
No. And also, he just took him to the College World Series.
Yeah, I'm making the connections for if it's an established head coach at a P4 school, such as Skip Johnson or Steve Forbes, Scott Forbes.
Yep. No, Steve Forbes.
Steve Wake Forest men's basketball. Yeah.
Scott Forbes. Yes.
Who are some guys that are surrounding the head coach? Who are some of the head lead staffers and assistants maybe that can get a look? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating to see.
You know who just popped into my brain as you were saying assistants? Oklahoma has an assistant. His name, Reggie Willits, their associate head coach. He played for Oklahoma, was drafted by the Angels, played 6 years of Major League Baseball, came back to Oklahoma as a volunteer assistant. He is the associate, so he is the coach in waiting, essentially, when Skip Johnson steps away. But man, we talked to Skip Johnson a couple years ago. He ain't looking to retire. That guy's going to be in college baseball for a lot longer. And Reggie Willits has major league coaching experience. He coached in the Yankees organization from 2015 to 2021. Is he looking for a change of scenery? Now, maybe not because his son Jackson Willits is on the team, but if Reggie Willits becomes the head coach at Oklahoma, guess who the first boy hopping in the transfer portal is once Oklahoma season is over? It's Jackson, and he's going to Dudy Noble. So maybe Reggie Willits, that could be a possibility. I didn't even think about that, but he has major league coaching experience, and that would give you that flash, that pizzazz that the folks in Stark Vegas are looking for.
Yeah, and before we hit record, you mentioned another coach in waiting, Mark Kingston, come back to the SEC. I think that would be very that would be very underwhelming, I think, from Mississippi State standpoint, because he couldn't cut it or hack it, long enough to remain employed at South Carolina. And you can debate the merits of the fairness of that, but still, a change was made, and that's not going to be welcomed, with roses in Starkville at all. So we will continue to monitor, and I look forward to Kendall Rogers putting out his big board, his hot board of candidates with D1Baseball.com. I'm sure he's working on it feverishly as we speak over the last few hours.
Yeah.
We are recording at 10:16 p.m. on Monday evening. I am wearing Wahlberg across my chest because Pudge just won a game 14-6, and that's why we're getting a late start. You got a Mountaineer shirt on. Why don't you tell? Is there anything else we can unload on the SEC? Should we talk Tennessee LSU before we move to West Virginia and everything else that went on? Let's move off the Lemonis topic.
Yeah. We can delve through the rest of the SEC first if you want. I don't mind.
Let's do that. We're on the SEC train of thought here. So LSU, Tennessee, Friday night, Bear Jones. You're down 3-0. 6-run inning. Capped off by a mammoth walk-off blast over the center field wall, 452 feet, embellishing, walking, taunting maybe a little bit. All of it, I think, was very necessary and appropriate. And the best part from Bear Jones was the fact he said something actually towards the umpire. And the umpire had to try and hurry him down the first baseline. And Bear Jones, as he said on Raleigh Cap with Darian Noka on Sunday night, look, I told him the game's over. Like, I just ended the game. What do you want me to hurt? Like, him going back and forth with the umpire, admiring his shot over the center field wall. Just beautiful. Love that. Need more of it. Whenever the moment arises, like, do you, man? You earned it. You just won the game. That game also didn't start on time. I believe it was a 3-hour delay. So very late into the night. And Tennessee comes back, wins game 2. Pretty handily. They pulled away late. I watched the end of that game when I got back from that was the Animal Kingdom Epcot day for me. And it was actually our shortest day. We left Friday. We went to Magic Kingdom. We were there all day. We left the Airbnb and in a gated community, Windsor Resort, Davenport, about 30-minute drive from Disney World. We left the house at 8:45 a.m., did not return to the house until 11:45 p.m. So there was only Twitter scrolling. And really most of my time was invested between the hours of 8 p.m. and 11:30 and catching up on the NFL draft and watching as much while waiting in obnoxious lines at Magic Kingdom. I remember I was in the Ratatouille line, Remy's Ratatouille at Epcot. Well, that would have been the day after, watching Seth Rollins, WWE wrestler, cut a promo for the Bears after Clay Matthews opened the draft on Thursday night with some
the Bears still suck. Yes.
Yeah. Which I appreciate. That's fine. Ignite the crowd. You're at Lambeau. But, let me tell you, times are changing, and we're coming for the North, young man. And Seth Rollins put it on blast. Anyways.
Holston Loveland, Luther Burden. I mean, you guys had a great draft.
It was a phenomenal draft. Very happy. Bears did their homework. I think they made the right call with Colston Loveland over
Tyler Warren.
over Tyler Warren for sure. I think there's more upside, younger guy, better frame, more of a downfield threat, just all the physical intangibles. And nobody saw that coming outside of, a few pundits. So Luther Burden falling to us in the second round was just incredible. Did you like the Patriots draft? Were you happy?
Loved it. I'm so happy.
Okay.
I'm thrilled. I think they nailed it. I'm excited. Super Bowl this year. Let's go.
Okay. So tangent to Disney, back to LSU, Tennessee. So day 2 was actually, or I guess it would have been day 3. It was one of the shorter. I don't know. They all blend together. Either way, I'm home. I got baseball on my laptop. I'm smoking a cigar. I'm sitting by the pool. We had our own pool in our little back fenced-in area, and I got the YouTube TV up, and I'm watching. And this was the Saturday game where Tennessee pulled away late. So, and then I listened a little bit Sunday on the drive, and it was the freshman that carried the Tigers on Sunday. You think of Derek Curiel, and also finding maybe a legit Sunday starter. And I want you to pull up his bio, Kason Evans, and I want you to tell me who you believe Kason Evans looks like, because I have the doppelganger. I have the love child, and he was actually in the other dugout on Sunday.
He looks like Tony Vitello.
Yes, he does.
Oh my God. No way. I have not looked at Kason Evans' headshot yet this year, but wow.
Well, he made his first. You never would have, I don't think.
No,
I'm the one
not.
doing the LSU prep for Hoover, and he's just a freshman. So
holy smokes!
He made his
Did
first.
Tony Vitello grow a pencil mustache, put on a LSU cap, and go pitch for the other team?
Well, here's the other thing about that series, Con. I'll let you, fire off and respond to what the Vols and Tigers gave us this weekend. The Jared Jones dramatics coupled with the Antigua back and forth as well throughout the weekend. And Antigua, potentially taking a couple high and tight also from some LSU pitching over the weekend. And just the back and forth, the barking. I mean, it was intense. This was number 6 and number 7 going at it, and LSU came out on top, and now they're the number 2 team in the land.
I have the word of the week, in case you didn't come up with one.
I don't have one. My battery is very low.
No, I told you that I did the extra prep for you this week because I knew you'd be coming back and you'd be a little drained. Understandable. You just walked 2 9-year-olds around Disney for 4 days. I get it.
Yeah.
Chippy is the word of the weekend for me because Tennessee and LSU was fiery. Texas and Texas A&M was downright crispy. All right. That was intense. That was an intense weekend in Austin, as we expected it to be. NC State and Clemson was a little turned up. West Virginia and UCF had words this weekend in Orlando. All right. Anytime you go to East Carolina and it's Tulane, who hasn't won a series there since 2012 until last weekend, roll wave, you're facing the jungle. That's always going to be a raucous environment.
Dude, those were you could do some box score bingo with the first 2 games of that series too.
Yeah, you damn well could. 9 runs in the first inning in game 1 for Tulane to win 20-5. You love to see it. Anyways, also apologies to Corey Glore, friend of the podcast. I did not make the trip out to Greenville this weekend. I usually do. Sorry, things came up.
Hey, he's pissed at me because I didn't get him on air on time on the Varsity app, and he was blowing me up in his passive aggressive manner.
Anyways, I get we're talking about Tennessee, so let's talk about Tennessee, and let's talk about Arkansas too, because Arkansas lost the series to Florida in Gainesville this past weekend.
Yeah.
Are we worried about Tennessee? And we'll get to Texas and Texas A&M. We'll touch on that. Are we worried about Arkansas or Tennessee? And I'll explain why. Arkansas has lost 3 straight series at Georgia versus a red-hot Texas A&M team and at Florida, and they still have to face Texas, at LSU, and Tennessee. Tennessee, meanwhile, has dropped back-to-back series in 3 of their last 4, the back-to-backs against Kentucky and this past weekend at LSU. Their schedule slightly more favorable, but not much. They face Auburn and Vandy at home, and then they go to Baum-Walker to close the season against the Hogs. Are we worried about either one? Not in terms of, making the postseason. They're going to do that. But are we worried about these prognostications that we put forth that 2 weeks ago we're saying Tennessee, crown them? I mean, they're a freight train. And then now they've just kind of bottomed out a little bit. Maybe they're bottoming out at the right time and they'll surge in May. We'll see. But Arkansas has lost 3 in a row. I mean, when's the last time that's happened for DVH? So are we worried about either one, Kyle Schassburger, Tennessee or Arkansas?
I hope you can hear me.
I do.
Okay. My screen keeps flashing on me. I am more worried about Arkansas than anything.
Okay.
I think Tennessee, now each have lost 3 weekends in a row, which you just laid out.
I think Tennessee lost 3 of the last 4. They lost 2 in a row.
2 in a row for Tennessee. Yeah, losing to Kentucky. They did take the Ole Miss series. So, yeah.
Yes.
Kentucky and LSU. Arkansas has dropped 3 in a row. I mean, if you subscribe to the hot theory, this is good for teams like this to maybe go through some adversity, learn who you are, figure out some things, be faced with certain challenges. You know, you're defined not by the struggles or the failures that you're enduring, but more so by how you pick yourself up and move forward. So who is more equipped to respond better during this low point? Because that's what it is, let's be real, of the season. And looking at what's remaining on the schedule, the fact these two teams play each other at the end of regular season, I mean, it's a shame they're not, they're struggling the way that they are, but those games will mean something still. Are you going to get a double bye? Potentially is probably still hanging in the balance. It's a matter of playing on Thursday or playing on. I'm trying to think of how playing on Thursday or playing on Friday. One of those.
Thursday or Friday. No, that's right.
And if you get the double bye in Hoover, you can set up your pitching as you normally would on a weekend series with your top 3 going, and you have a chance to win the SEC championship. That really is the main benefit of going to this 16-team, everyone invited, single elimination. I think Tennessee, given they are the defending champs, and there's still some integral pieces and the DNA being there of a team that has the championship DNA, coming off a title, understanding what it takes to get to the mountaintop, going through, that bullseye on their back in years prior, the brashness that came with the start of this volunteer juggernaut of a run that we've seen under Tony Vitello, this revival, but also new heights that the program has never experienced before. I feel a little bit better about Tennessee because Arkansas, really over the last handful of years, and you can go back to the drop fly ball, I hate to bring it back up, against Oregon State in the National Championship Series. What was that? 17? 18? 18? Arkansas has been a team that there's been 1, 2, 3, just too many instances of them not meeting the moment at its highest peak and fizzling out in excruciating, disappointing fashion from the perspective of their fan base. And this is a team that put together an incredible first 8-9 weeks. But now, the meat of the SEC is here. We've already told you about the parity and the 3 games that separate 9 of these teams. No weekend is easy. And given who they have remaining, which includes the top-ranked Texas Longhorns, I'm a little bit more concerned that they're going to be able to get things back on track since it starts with the Horns this weekend. Their game at Missouri State Tuesday has already been washed out, canceled. And I don't think it's as much a washout as it might be, hey, we need a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Because we're entering that territory. We are in that territory.
We are in that territory of coaches canceling midweek games for weather or field conditions or whatever you want to call it, but we're canceling this game for RPI or rest purposes. Yeah, we're there. We're in that bag. But I agree with you that I'm more worried about Arkansas from a scheduling perspective. I am worried about Tennessee's offense, though. You go back and look at the run production they've had these last couple weeks. It's not what we're used to seeing. And granted, yes, the SEC is the premier conference in college baseball, so they have good pitching. But Tennessee hasn't seemed to give a shit about that. They can hit the ball off anyone. But it's been minimal the last couple weeks, and I'm a little concerned.
To be fair for Arkansas, the official release does say they're playing at the St. Louis Cardinals, AA affiliate, Springfield Cardinals.
Okay.
Forecasted thunderstorm. So,
Okay.
not,
We'll see.
not doubting it. Just,
Okay. No.
it
was a question I wanted to bring
convenient.
up.
Yeah.
It was a question I wanted to bring up, but
Chippy.
I appreciate your answer. Yeah.
Chippy. Chippy is defined by touchy, defensive, especially on account of having a grievance or a sense of inferiority. Am I saying that right?
Inferiority? Yeah. I mean, that's you could relate that to Texas and Texas A&M because of the whole Jim Schlossnagle, Michael Italy.
I hit on my surefire lock. I hit on it.
You did. Let me give the updated record because you did hit on it. So that was a hit for you.
Texas wins in spite of
5-3.
5-3. Okay. Texas wins the banner weekend with A&M coming into their house and Schloss going up against his former Aggies, all one-run games with the cloud of Jared Spencer being out for the season.
Yeah.
Max Ballou already done. I mean, Schloss knows how to overcome these moments, these injuries.
Mm-hmm.
He finds a way with the guys that he has. Think of Braden Montgomery in the tournament last year. Shane Sadeo, even before the postseason got underway when he was at Texas A&M. And they still got to the finals against Tennessee. Now, they can't afford to lose, I don't think, too many other guys. But, man, Texas is just
dude,
this
is amazing.
It is. It's simply incredible. Year one in this league. Year one under Schlossnagle, and they're 19-2. And they've won every weekend on the season.
Yeah, they're 35-9, right? Isn't that the record? Is that what they are? 35-9, I think is what they are. 39-5. I don't know. Something stupid. But you got Ruger Riojas on the Friday night roll. Dominant again against the Aggies. 5 2/3 shutout. And you get Max Grubbs, Dylan Volantis, nighty-night. You're not beating those two. 7 Ks combined in 3 1/3 innings. Then you go to Saturday. You go Luke Harrison, who could very easily be an ace anywhere else in the country. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 6 Ks. And then Grubbs and Volantis finish it off again in the 9th. They're unbeatable. Dylan Volantis, by the way, as a freshman, has 11 saves. As a freshman, Dylan Volantis has 11 saves. Amazing. And then on Sunday, where you go, okay, we don't have Jared Spencer to throw. Who are we going to go to? So they go with an opener of Jason Flores, and then they go Andre Duplantier II, and he comes out and puts up 5.2, 3 earned runs, 4 hits, 1K. Serviceable. But then you look at the back end of the pen that day, and you go, they're not going to throw Volantis again 3 straight days. They go Saunier Ferdinand in the 3rd, Max Grubbs 0.2 thirds for the last 2 innings. The 8th and 9th, if Texas has a lead going into the 8th inning, just pencil in the win. Put it in pen, hell.
Yeah.
It's over. The back end of that pen is stupid good. And the fact that they can just call on Andre Duplantier and he can just come out and shove against, the Aggies at the hottest apex of their season, amazing stuff for Texas. So but I will say, I do want to give Texas A&M credit because people are like, oh, A&M, it's over. They're already digging the grave for the Aggies. They went toe-to-toe with the number 1 team in the country for 3 games in a row. In Austin, in a raucous environment, 1-run games, all 3 of them. I still have plenty of hope for the Aggies. I really do.
NC State sweeps number 2 Clemson. This is when the Wolfpack, as we leave the SEC, run through some of these other notables quickly. Then we'll take a break, come back, box score bingo, hit our dudes, SDA hat tips, and some of the midweek games to look out for. We'll be back on Thursday. Again, Kyle Schassburger, David Kahn, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. Appreciate you, however you're listening. College Sports Now feed for the OG listeners. That's where our bread is buttered. But to help us to continue to grow the YouTube channel, Dugouts, Dumbbells, Dingers on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and rate us, too, on the audio podcast platform, whether it be Apple or Spotify, at Cal Shass, at SportsCon4. So State sweeps Clemson. This is the time of the year where they round into form. It's what Elliott Avent just seems to do every single year. I mean, he had a bunch of freshmen in the lineup, and now they're playing like sophomores. Some of them playing like juniors, and it's just incredible. I mean, a model of consistency. It's why he's one of the best. Oregon sweeps number 3, Oregon State in the Big Ten. Still trail Iowa, I think by 3.5 games, but Iowa sweeping Indiana, 2 run rule games, 1-2-1 victory in game 1, and then winning a couple of 10 run 10-run mercy rule games across 7 innings. Iowa's 20-4 in the Big Ten. That duck sweep, though, of the Beavers in Eugene, first ever top 3 ranked sweep in program history. Iowa, stay in the Big Ten briefly. Before they got that sweep of Indiana, they had 2 midweek games. They won one of them, but it wasn't the first. Western Illinois, the Fighting Leathernecks, they slayed the Hawkeyes. They beat Iowa before that. Just had to get that. I gave them no chance. Them no chance. And when I did that, they beat Iowa. You talked about Tulane, other mid-major love. UC Irvine sweeping Cal Poly. And
they're done. It's over.
They are done. Yeah, Cal Poly is going to have to win the Big West tournament, which is new this year. And Florida International completely TKOs the Western Kentucky hosting chances, which were, it was a long shot anyways, but we talked about WKU even losing the 1 game to Middle Tennessee State last weekend from an RPI standpoint and how that hurt them because it was just an atrocious, I think it was a quad 4 loss. You can't get swept by FIU. What do we do?
You can't. And the problem is the margin of error is now zilch for the Hilltoppers to play in the postseason. Their RPI is down to 48. They have a non-conference strength of schedule of 275. They're in the field right now because of what they've done to this point. But if you do this again and get swept by an inferior opponent like FIU, you're done. It's over. You got to win CUSA. And they could. But TKO of the weekend goes to FIU TKOing Western Kentucky's hosting chances. Tough.
Let's bring it back to the Big 12. Tell me about West Virginia sweeping at UCF. 4 straight Big 12 series sweep.
Dude, West Virginia just finds ways to win. All right. They are 37-5. They're 16-3 in the Big 12 right now. They have a 1.5 game lead over Kansas, is in the top 25 this week. I believe Kansas comes in, number 25. So you got West Virginia at 16. You have Arizona 24, Kansas 25, the 3 teams of the Big 12 in the top 25 right now. But West Virginia goes to UCF in Orlando, plays 3 very different games against the Knights. The first game, West Virginia won with 1 hit. They won 4-1 with 1 hit over UCF. They had 3 sacrifice flies and an RBI ground out. Then game 2 on Saturday, they win 15-10. We could even play a little box score bingo with this box score. I'll just run through it for you real fast. 5 runs in the first for West Virginia. UCF answers with 4. Then UCF takes the lead in the 4th, 6-5. West Virginia ties it in the top of the 5th. UCF retakes the lead in the bottom of the 5th. Same thing in the 7th. Then in the 8th, West Virginia scores 4. UCF scores 2. West Virginia scores 4 in the 9th to blow it out with a Ben Lumsden home run, 3-run dong to close it out and say night, night, nights. Say that 5 times fast. His first home run of the season, by the way, a 3-run homer to right center. Carson Estridge gets his 5th save of the year. Chase Meyer continues to be that dog in the back end of the pen for West Virginia. They win at 15-10. And on Sunday, 4-3, because you know what? Jack Kartsonis came out and dealt. The mustachioed man is unstoppable in this Sunday starter role for West Virginia. 6 2/3, 9 hits, only 3 earned runs, though another quality start for Jack. 5 Ks, 2 walks on 111 pitches. This guy was in the pen to start the year, and he's come out and been an absolute dude over the last 3 weeks for West Virginia in that Sunday starter role after they swapped him in for Carson Estridge. And Ben McDougal comes out and gets the save, 2 1/3 perfect innings. Shuts down all 7 he faces in the series sweeping victory for West Virginia as they win at 4-3 over UCF. So, West Virginia, incredible stuff. They've won 14 in a row in the Big 12. They've won 4 straight series sweeps. Never been done. They hadn't done 3 in a row. Now they've done 4 in a row. They get Texas Tech at home, who just had a big series win this past weekend over Arizona. Then they have Kansas State at Kansas State, who's kind of fallen off the shelf. And then Kansas. That series is going to be amazing. West Virginia and Kansas and Morgantown to close the year. We'll be dialed in on that one. But, Kyle, I saw something that I've never seen before in ever watching baseball, and I'm going to share it with you because it is too good not to share. It was Saturday night, West Virginia and UCF. The Knights were up 7-6 in the top of the 7th inning, and then this play occurred. I'm going to pull it in right now. We'll go full screen and just watch what happens here. It's a ground ball from West Virginia. Sam White grounds it to first base. It's scooped up by the first baseman, taps the bag at first. He thinks it's the third out of the inning. He chucks the ball away, and then here comes West Virginia tying the game. Armani Guzman slides in from third. UCF forgot how many outs there were in the inning. You hate to see it.
I think that's worthy of a backyard breakdown delivered by Borgoballs. They sold out their first ever order, 2,000 balls, 4 packs, 500 orders it was. They've restocked backyardbaseballbros.com. Appreciate Brett, Blake, Ty, and Tatum, our good friends with the Borgoball, the Backyard Baseball Bros. Go to backyardbaseballbros.com. The Rays seams, it's like a real baseball. Kahn is holding us up now. That is inexcusable right there, the UCF guy. They deserve to get swept. By the way, while you were explaining, I can't breathe anymore because I got the cat's litter box next to me. And this is what happens when you podcast from home. This thing just came and dropped the kids off at the pool. And let me tell you, those kids were already wet before jumping in the pool, and I can't breathe. So we need to
take a break.
Can we take a break so I can go find some air freshener and we can come back, box score bingo, and try to wrap things up here with some dudes, hat tips, and touch on the midweek. How about it? You feel good? Can we do that?
Yep.
All right.
Do it.
Back in a minute.
College sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup as the top college athletic programs for the 2024-25 college athletic season? You can follow the standings of your favorite team or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2025 to the winning institutions in all college sports divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Limited edition Febreze Air Mist, White Pine and Juniper Berry. I am currently now huffing and choking over as the litter is being shoveled into a bag as we speak to my left. God, disgusting. I'm going to use that as a pivot point to tell you about baseball barbecue here for a moment because West Virginia is one of the collegiate partners for baseball barbecue. And we know what baseball barbecue does. They specialize in tailgate tools, in grilling season, and it's going to be May here before the week is over, David Kahn. So Backyard Baseball Bros, who we love so much, we also love baseball barbecue. 3D-20 is our promo code. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. Get you the hook, which is a pigtail. It's a grilling utensil, again, with the baseball bat end. It can be engraved with WVU Mountaineers or any one of their few dozen different collegiate partners. The 6-tool player is what they call the full variety pack, if you will, of grilling utensils, which includes, the spatula, the scraper, all that comes with the cutting board cut out like home plates. You can get 20% off your next order, 3D-20. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. All right, Kahn. Where do we go from here? Oh, he went to go grab it. Oh, are you going to display this for us? You got it for me?
Yes, I ran away to display the baseball barbecue. Look at that.
Look at the 2-lane green wave.
Oh,
man. That's some...
The cutting board.
The CSN College Sports Now cutting board. I've got one of those as well up in one of the cabinets.
I used my 2-lane green wave spatula on yesterday. when I was grilling some bacon cheddar infused burgers that I picked up at Food Lion. Delicious.
Ooh, that sounds exquisite.
It was exquisite. And I tweeted Baseball Barbecue and let them know that I was using their tools. And Tulane Greenwave, I added Greenwave Baseball as well because I was using Tulane's tools. And Tulane Greenwave Baseball and Baseball Barbecue both liked it. So they know. They know we're using their stuff. We love their stuff. BaseballBarbecue.com. You know what's coming up, Shass? Mother's Day. You know what mothers love? Possibly
fat,
grilling.
Juicy burger. Yeah.
Maybe they like to grill. All right.
A fat, juicy. Mothers love fat, juicy burgers.
Yeah.
Specifically, Schassburgers.
So go ahead and get some new grilling tools and grill your mom a fat, juicy burger on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 11th. And you have to do it with the grilling tools at Baseball Barbecue. Look at it. It's shaped like a baseball bat. And you can get your favorite team engraved on there, like mine, the Tulane Green Wave. And then you can swing it like a bat while you're slicing and dicing up the burgers and all that stuff. And you can cut up all your vegetables and your sides and your fixings on the cutting board, all right? BaseballBarbecue.com, 3D-20. Do it. Your mom will appreciate it.
Man, I love it when you talk about Baseball Barbecue. Fun, functional Baseball Barbecue products are perfect for casual fans or serious grillers. And even Ma and David Kahn put them together, and it's an extravaganza for grilling season. Let's do a little box score bingo, shall we?
Okay.
I want to start with Louisiana. I want to start with Louisiana Tech and DBU. Game 1
Here we go.
Friday night, 16-5 final, favoring DBU, who won the series. DBU creating a little bit of separation now. This was in Ruston, ending a streak of several weekends in a row. Lost count, 5, 6, 7 overall. Louisiana Tech had won. They were on a heater in the conference. 16-15 is the final count. But I want you to focus in on that 10th inning there, David Kahn.
4 runs apiece.
Grand slam for both teams. DBU had 15-11 on a grand slam in the top of the 10th inning. And what did Louisiana? Yeah, and I should give credit here. Okay, I don't know who the individual was for DBU. I don't have that at the ready. Who hit the grand slam? So give me 1 second. I got the game story that I'm pulling up here, unless you have it.
But let's see. Who hit home runs? We had Bennett, Bergholt, Hossey, Rodell, and Patterson. Take your pick.
Well, Trey Hossey is the one. This is a stud freshman, folks. I mean, he has been absolutely raking for the Bulldogs. 6'2", 240. He's a mammoth. He hit a game-tying grand slam in the bottom of the 10th inning. But the grand slam by DBU that put them up 15-11. Let's see. Grand slam. Yeah, not noted.
It was either Bergholt or Jake Bennett. That's the only two it could have been. I don't know who it was. I'm just guessing based off the RBIs that they have.
Well, either way, 2 grand slams apiece. Tied the game up at 15. Louisiana Tech did. And then DBU came and pushed one across to win it 16-15. So 31 combined runs. How many combined hits did we have? 18 and 16?
34.
So, 34 total. So
that comes
game
after an 8-run first inning for Louisiana Tech.
Yes, that as well. I want to turn your attention now to, let's do the midweek game between Morehead State and Marshall.
This was a doozy. This one was incredible. I'll take the lead here, Shass. 32-15, your final score. So Morehead State got their teeth kicked in from the word go. And towards the end, get out of here, AI. All right, so here we go. The first inning features 11 runs in and of itself, right? Marshall scores 6. Morehead State scores 5. Marshall then scores 4 in the second, 4 in the fourth, 4 in the 6th, and for good measure, when they're already up 22-15, they score 10 big ones in the 9th to win it 32-15. They punch out 33 hits, only 1 error. Good for them. Morehead State, tough day. 6 errors in the field on 15 hits, 15 runs. And then you look at the Marshall box score, it's kind of amazing because they only had 2 guys that had more than 3 RBIs. Elijah Vogelsong had 5 RBIs, and Cam Harthen had 5 RBIs. Both of them had 4-hit days, as did Nolan Wilson. But other than that, pretty normal looking, line scores for these guys. So kind of an interesting game there.
Well,
and you look at it from a home run perspective, you only had 1 dude for Marshall homer, Nolan Wilson. That's it.
Look at the line score, though, the runs by inning for Marshall.
Yeah.
They scored 32, okay?
Yes.
640-414-3010. That is a New Jersey phone number, folks.
Is that a New Jersey area code?
Yes,
is that
it
a New Jersey area code?
414-3010.
That's amazing. 640-414.
We should call it.
I'm typing this in. 610-414. You want me to call it live on the podcast?
Well, you can. However, as I just typed to you in our chat, my charger is at the Dash Stadium, and I'm already on devastating low levels, so let's not waste any more time.
All right.
We'll call it Thursday. How about that? Wednesday night. Whenever the hell we pod again.
The phone number, when I typed it in, AI says the phone number appears in a tweet related to a college baseball game. The tweet states, Marshall's box score is a New Jersey phone number, 640-414-3010.
Oh, shit.
It's
my
likely
joke's already been dated.
It's likely this is a reference to a fictional phone number or a humorous content on the box score data. It's not a real phone number associated with a person or business.
Yeah, but if you type in, I just typed in 640.
Yeah,
and it
New
is
Jersey.
a New Jersey. Okay,
it's Jersey.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
No, you're right about that. All right, so you want to skip the last box score bingo and
no, we could just mention
okay.
it real quick. So St. Joe's won a series. Why are we talking about St. Joe's? Well, because they lost 29-1 against Dayton at home on Friday. Lost 29-1 before winning the series with back-to-back walk-off wins. And that was in a doubleheader. Game 1 of a doubleheader, 29-1 loss on Friday. Won game 2, 6-5 in walk-off fashion. Then won Sunday to win the series 4-3, also in walk-off fashion. Each of those walk-offs were delivered by Carson Applegate. So good on St. Joe's, picking themselves up off the mat after losing by 28 runs in game 1 of a doubleheader, game 1 of the series on Friday, April 25th, a game in which the Flyers scored 16 runs in the 5th inning alone as part of a 29-1 win. A game where St. Joe's also booted the ball and kicked it around the diamond 7 times. They committed 7 errors in that game. Holy moly. Sweet mother of
pie?
Minnie Mouse. I don't know.
Oh, all right, Disney.
I'm done with Disney. I don't want to talk about Disney ever again. Okay, give me
I knew you'd say that. I knew you'd come back and say. I said it on the podcast with Tripp last week. I was like, "Is he having a good time?" And it actually did look like you were having a good time.
It was fine. It was great core memories. Okay,
sure.
It's just I'm not, and I don't have anything against Disney.
No,
it's just that environment and all of that.
Oh, it's a lot.
Checked it off the list. If I go back down there, I'm going to Universal Studios and then maybe that new Epic whenever it opens. But even
Epic
then,
Universe, yes.
We can give it some time. I'm in no rush. I'm in no hurry.
No. All right, let's go to dudes and hat tips and get the heck out of here. It's almost 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. So my dude, we already touched on this series, NC State brooming Clemson and moving up to number 13 in the top 25 and boosting their RPI tremendously as well. Braden Frassman for NC State went 5 for 5 in the opener on Thursday against Clemson. That was a Thursday through Saturday set. 5 for 5, 2 dingers and 7 RBIs on Thursday alone for Braden. He goes 9 for 13 in the series. So shout out to the Wolfies, Wolfpack Nation. All right. Braden Frassman, my dude of the week for NC State.
All right, I got a dude real quick. I got to find where I bookmarked it. It's Vanderbilt, who dropped the series against Ole Miss, but something very notable happened as I think it was in game 3 where they salvaged. Was it game 3 getting there? Hang on, give me a moment. Bear with me. Yes, they won 13-0 in 7 innings. Now, it's only 7 innings, so this speaks to like the no-hitter, one-hitter, perfect game type thing that we tried to rationalize and not necessarily debate. You and I were on the same page earlier this season on what qualifies to be part of that. But Connor Fennell for Vanderbilt recorded a complete game shutout with a career-high 12 strikeouts and a 13-0 win over Ole Miss. Again in 7 innings. but it does register as a complete game. I'm willing to give him the complete game. It would appear others are as well, because he did go to the distance, and it's not a perfect game or no-hitter where I feel like there's more at stake. But with this quote-unquote complete game, at least one Vanderbilt pitcher has thrown a complete game shutout in 12 straight completed seasons every year since 2012. Pretty incredible from Pitching U, that is Vanderbilt University.
I'll give him that. Yeah, I'll give him the complete game. That's fine. He went the full game. Like, I mean, it's not his fault. It was 7 innings. That's actually, it is his fault for the other team that he shut him out for 7 straight innings. Nice. That's good. I'll give him the complete game. I'm with you there. I think that counts. Hat tip for me. You already mentioned yours is LSU baseball's attendance record of nearly 11,500 for the history of the best in the history of the program. Mine is the Savannah Bananas selling out a baseball game at Clemson's football stadium. Death Valley was packed to the gills for the Savannah Bananas over the weekend. 81,000 strong. Watch the Savannah Bananas play. We'll call it an event. Baseball game seems like an understatement because it's not really the main focal point of the Bananas. They're an entertainment team. They entertain. Fellow, member of the Hoover crew going to the SEC radio network or SEC baseball tournament. Gabe Genovese was there with his wife and their friends and their 9-month-old Charlotte. And they had a phenomenal time. So really cool. Just everything that was being posted about that. The crowd photos were insane. So hat tip to the Savannah Bananas for selling out a freaking college football stadium. All right.
Yeah, it's like the circus coming to town. It's a show. It's an event. Absolutely. Dabo Sweeney leading them down the hill also in front of 81,000 prior to the start of the game. The scenes were obnoxiously awesome is one way I can put it. Some of the social media images. So that's worthy at the same time of an SDA, social display of affection. I'm going to go, though, back to West Virginia, who celebrated that 4th straight sweep provocatively in the outfield, and it seemed like the camera was panning very quickly away from their mouth gesturing after stacking one fist and pound on top of one another and then opening their mouth and doing a little bit of a swirl, and then boom goes the camera. Goodbye, folks. So I don't know what exactly was going on there. Maybe just dudes being dudes. Could have been the case there. Country roads. Hey man, it's a drug. It's a drug out there. You could also give a vote to Bill Belichick and the awkward interview that he was giving. I don't even know what the network was. Was that CBS?
CBS Sunday morning. Yeah.
Okay, Sunday morning. Yeah, I don't. That's not my my jam. So, but his wonderful girlfriend. Controlling the narrative. Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, off that narrative, midweek's coming up. We got some big ones on Tuesday that I'm intrigued to watch. Tell me if any of these tickle your fancy. We got LSU in Southeastern Louisiana. These are all on Tuesday, by the way. Ole Miss and the 30-plus win Austin P. Governors. We got North Carolina and George Mason. NC State and UNC Wilmington. And then we got game 4 of the series. But Oregon has to go to Corvallis to face off with Oregon State.
Yeah, I'm interested in LSU. They got run ruled by Northwestern State last Tuesday before taking 2 out of 3 against Tennessee. And CeeLo played Southern Miss tough last week before the Golden Eagles won dramatically again late. They seem to have a knack for that, even though they swept this past weekend. Oregon State should be a lot of fun. Cal State Fullerton, UC Irvine, Cal State Fullerton 14-7 in the Big West, 23-20, trying to get back to prominence. And 24th ranked Arizona at High Corbett Field against New Mexico State. Wildcats dropped a series against Texas Tech. Red Raiders showed some life this past weekend. You knew it would happen at some point. But how
now they come to Morgantown to face West Virginia.
Yeah.
So
yeah, otherwise, maybe Missouri beats Kansas. Should that be a surefire lock? Missouri beating Kansas on Tuesday
Your bag,
night?
Bro. Throw it out there.
I mean, it's not an SEC win. I'm taking to the bank under 3.5. So give me Missouri over Kansas on Tuesday night.
All right. Putting it out there. Week 12, midweek, Missouri beats Kansas. It's on the board. Well, you are on a streak of 4 of your last 5.
4 out of 5. Okay. All right. We got to get the hell out of here because my computer's going to die, and we got to get this audio up and scheduled. So we'll talk again on Thursday. He's David Kahn at SportsCon 4. I'm Kyle Schassburger at Kyle Schass. Has been Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. Talk to you later on.